Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So let us start our absorption into the Navadvipa Dham Mandal Parikrama, full of kirtans, full of prasad, and full of nectarian pastimes of the Lord. Feast to the eyes, feast to the soul, feast to the body.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshirunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of our YouTube live listeners, our Facebook live listeners, and our listeners over Zoom. We welcome you to this day 2 of Sri Navadvipa Mandal Parikrama. So this Parikrama today that we are going to do is a detailed Parikrama of Sri Antardvipa Dham. The Antardvip, which is the innermost whirl of the petal, of the 8-petaled Navadvip. This Antardvip is the central whirl. So today we will be, Antardvip, as we all remember, that it signifies Atma Nivedanam, complete surrender. So in this island today, we will visit from the Karma Kshetra of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Janma Kshetra of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is in Antardvip. So we will start.
So Nityananda Prabhu, he is taking Jiva Goswami on this parikrama. And Nityananda Prabhu started speaking, listen to my words, because Navadvip extends through 16 kroshas. Within these 16 kroshas of Navadvip, which is non-different than Vrindavan. Vrindavan is 84 kroshas. This is 16 kroshas. There are 9 islands which form an 8-petaled lotus, which is floating on the water on Ganges. In the middle of the 8 islands or petals is Antardvipa. And within Antardvipa, there is the very central point called Mayapur. And Lord Chaitanya's eternal pastimes, they take place within the center of Mayapur, Yoga Pitha, and the circle of Mayapur. So can we have our slide, please? The first slide.
So here we know this Antardvipa Dham. As we said, Antardvip is the central whirl, but here there's a very, very wonderful pastime that happened in this particular island of Navadvipa Dham. It is, all of us know of the pastime of Lord Brahma stealing the cowherd boys and the calves of Krishna in Brajalila, and then after that he realized his mistake. Lord Brahma realized his mistake, and next slide, please. And when he realized his mistake, he was feeling so bad that he offended the Supreme Lord. So then he actually came and begged forgiveness from Krishna, glorified Krishna by speaking one of the most famous verses. And, that we are recommended to read this chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. And the most glorious prayer of Lord Brahma in this particular chapter is,
Tatenukampa susamikshmano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam ritvakvapurvir vidadhan namaste jiveti yamukti pade sadaiva.
Which means Lord Brahma is saying that only if the purport of this verse is that only a grateful heart can be the true recipient of the Lord's mercy. That is the meaning of this verse, that even in difficult situations, those who can surrender, with their mind, body, and words, they can surrender to the Lord. The Lord, gives his special blessings, benedictions to such a soul. Lord Brahma is saying this to Krishna. So then, even after saying his prayers, Lord Brahma, said all these prayers to Krishna. Krishna forgave Brahma, but Brahma was still feeling very guilty. That how could I do this offense to my dear Lord Krishna? So then Lord Brahma, he actually meditated in this particular island, it is said, that in Antardvipa, he meditated. And he meditated so that, he was begging for forgiveness for his offense. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, He appeared in the, Krishna appeared in his golden, most merciful, most munificent, form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he gave the benediction to Lord Brahma that, yes, my dear Lord Brahma, I forgive you and you will be part of my pastimes. When I come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will come as Haridas Thakur. And you will, that time you will be coronated as the Nama Acharya, the Acharya of the holy name. So in this way, Lord Brahma felt very satisfied that now Krishna has finally forgiven. So that's why this island signifies complete surrender, complete surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. So with this mood of Lord Brahma, we should take shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this particular island. This is the mood. So today we will go on this Antardvip. Can we have the next slide, please? So as you can see this slide, it is the entrance. Welcome to Sri Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Srila Prabhupada called this temple as Chandra Udaya, Chandrodaya. Chandrodaya means where the moon of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu has risen to dissipate the darkness in the Kali Yuga. So this is why this temple is called, Prabhupada named it as Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. So we are entering by chanting Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. Everybody please chant Gauranga, 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 Gauranga. And we cross the main gate. As soon as we cross the main gate, what do we see? Next slide, please.
When we enter, we see on our left-hand side, Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir. In fact, this was the only Bhajan Kutir which was there in the early 70s when Srila Prabhupada came here. He would just stay in a simple hut. He had by then several temples all over the world, but still when he came to Mayapur, he stayed in a simple hut. And this is the place where he said, if we have a straw hut, it's okay for us, but who will come? Well, we must keep the straw hut so people know how we started in this land. So this straw hut of Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir is still there at the entrance of Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, signifying Srila Prabhupada, how he started in Sri Mayapur Dham.
In such humble condition, in such an austere condition, Srila Prabhupada said that yes, let us continue to preserve this so people should know how we started. So taking darshan here, can we go to the next slide, please? So this is the entrance to the Bhajan Kutir. Next slide, please. So here, Srila Prabhupada wanted 24-hour kirtan bhajans at this Bhajan Kutir. If you notice, Srila Prabhupada is actually sitting at the back, and devotees every day, 24 hours a day, there is kirtan that is going on here. So next slide, please. Let us offer our obeisances to the presiding deities of Sri Nitai Gaura Padakamala. Gaur Nitai Padakamala. So these are the presiding deities at the Bhajan Kutir of Sri Mayapur Dham. So offering our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Nityananda Prabhu, let us move forward. Next slide, please.
And Sri Mayapur Dham is the birthplace, the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deity that were towards on our right-hand side.
Can we go back to the previous slide, please?
This Sri Mayapur Dham is the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is on our right. And Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are none other than Krishna and Balaram, who appeared 5,000 years ago, Krishna and Balaram, and they both appeared as Lord Gauranga and Nityananda 500 years ago in Sri Mayapur Dham.
So as we said, this particular ISKCON campus, this Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, is the world headquarters of the ISKCON Society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said that Mayapur is the world headquarters. So we are so blessed that in this Purushottam month, we are virtually visiting the world headquarters of Sri Mayapur Dham. So with this mood, we will continue our yatra. So can we have the next slide, please?
In the early days of ISKCON in Sri Mayapur Dham, we saw that Bhajan Kutir of Srila Prabhupada, that was only there. This is a view of the building from that place. Slowly, one building came. This is in the early 70s, after Srila Prabhupada said we should have something. So there was just one building in the middle of this whole field.
The rice paddy
the
field.
rice paddy field.
You can see how it is surrounded on all sides by rice paddy field. And this building, those of you who know, this is the Lotus building. It's called the Padma Bhavan. And Srila Prabhupada stays, his quarters, in the third floor of this building. Can we have the next slide, please? This is Srila Prabhupada climbing. On the picture in the left, you can see Srila Prabhupada is climbing the same Lotus building to go up to his residence. And the next picture shows, the picture adjacent, which is on our right side, shows
that Srila Prabhupada is instructing Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, one of his senior-most disciples. He said, I am giving you the kingdom of God in this Sri Mayapur Dham. Now you develop it. So Srila Jayapataka Maharaj is focused on that service of developing Sri Mayapur Dham.
Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So now let us see how Mayapur looks today. Next slide, please. This is how Mayapur is today. Remember the rice paddy field? See how it has been transformed to the kingdom of God. Next slide, please.
This is the Pushpa Samadhi Mandir of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada left this world in 1977 in Vrindavan. And his desire was that the flowers from his Samadhi in Vrindavan be brought to Mayapur, and a Pushpa Samadhi Mandir was then made. This big, right below it is the flowers that came from the Samadhi of Srila Prabhupada. And this whole wonderful, beautiful structure was inaugurated in 1996. And the caretaker and the director of Srila Prabhupada Samadhi Mandir in Sri Mayapur Dham is His Grace Bhaktajana Priya Prabhu, who has also joined us today in this call. He is the father of Kalasudha, and also his good wife, Manorakshi Mataji. She has also joined, and they live in Sri Mayapur Dham, take care of the services in Sri Mayapur Dham, and in a short while, you will hear straight from the mouth of the Dhamvasis about their experience of living in Sri Mayapur Dham.
Can we have the next slide, please? So this is the deity of Srila Prabhupada in the Srila Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi Mandir. And this is on the left side, you can see an aerial view of the Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi Mandir with the Ganges flowing in the background. Next slide, please. So this is the temple of the Vedic planetarium that Lord Nityananda, yesterday we discussed. Lord Nityananda predicted about the appearance that Adbhutak Mandir hoibe prakash, Gauranger Nitya Seva hoibe bikash, that a beautiful temple will be manifested soon, and from there the eternal service to Lord Chaitanya will be propagated all over the world. So this is the temple of the Vedic planetarium, which is being built in Sri Mayapur Dham currently. Next slide, please. So now, after taking darshan of Srila Prabhupada Samadhi, then now we come to the entrance of Sri Mayapur Chandralam Mandir.
The earlier entrance, the first slide that we saw where we entered the Mayapur complex, that was the entrance of the entire Mayapur complex, which has the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, which has the Srila Pushpa Samadhi, Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi. It has the Temple of Vedic Planetarium and many other things. That was the entrance of the entire complex. This is the entrance of the temple, of the actual temple in the middle of the entire complex.
Next slide, please. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ashtasakhi ki jai.
So these are the presiding deities of Sri Mayapur Dham, Sri Sri Radha Madhava, and his 8 primary gopis called Ashta Sakhis, Lalita, Vishakha, Indulekha, Rangadevi, Sudevi, Suchitra, Champakalata, Tungavidya. These are the 8 primary gopis of Krishna, Radha and Krishna. And so this is the Dham. These are the presiding deities, Radha Madhava. They are life-size. They are like almost 7.5 feet tall deities.
And
Actually, they are eternal. That's why we don't say deities like this. This is never said. We say deities this way because there is no beginning, no end for the deities.
For the measurement. And they actually happen to be the tallest deities in ISKCON worldwide because they are presiding in Sri Mayapur Dham, the headquarters. So can we have the next slide where we can take a closer view at Sri Sri Radha Madhava? Next slide, please. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki
Jai.
Next is we take darshan. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav. Next, please. This is Sri Sri Panchatattva. Panchatattva is, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his brother Nityananda Prabhu, who is in blue. Next to him is Advaita Acharya Prabhu, and he's in white. Then we come to the personality who is on the left of Lord Chaitanya,
Our right.
In the pink dress, his name is Gadadhar, and the one next to him is Srivas Thakur. So these 5 personalities are called as Panchatattva. Panchatattva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Acharya Prabhu are called as Shaktiman, means not Shaktiman serial, but Shaktiman means they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha and Krishna combined. Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram himself. And Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu himself.
All right, next slide.
And Gadadhar Prabhu, sorry, 1 minute. And Gadadhar Prabhu is Srimati Radharani. And Srivas Thakur is Narad Muni. So they are the Shakti. These 2 personalities, Gadadhar and Srivas, are the Shakti of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is how we worship Panchatattva. Next slide, please. This is Lord Ugrastanu Narasinghadev Bhagavan ki jai.
There are 3 deities, 3 sets of deities. Radha Madhava Ashtasakhi, Sri Panchatattva, and Sri Ugrastanu Narasinghadev, who appeared in Mayapur Dham in 1986. Sri Mayapur Dham, he is called Sri Ugrastanu Narasinghadev. Narasinghadev, who came out of the pillar to protect Prahlad Maharaj. Remember that pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam? Ugrastanu. Ugra means very fierce. This is the most fierce form. When Narasinghadev is very, very angry, at the peak of his anger, when he just came out of the pillar. But here, he looks so merciful, even though he is like Ugrastanu, but when he comes to Sri Mayapur Dham, which is the Audarya Dham, the Dham of compassion, he takes on the mood of the Dham and becomes very compassionate on his devotees. So he's there for protection of the Dham, protection of the devotees who take shelter of Sri Narasinghadev.
Yeah, and Narasinghadev was installed here in Sri Mayapur Dham because there were a lot of dacoits attacking Mayapur, in the early days. So Srila Prabhupada had a desire that he expressed that we should have Lord Narasinghadev in Mayapur to be worshipped for the protection. So this Nrsingadev, as Prabhu was explaining, when Hiranyakashipu was torturing Prahlad Maharaj, and when he struck the pillar, Nrsingadev was so angry. So this is the peak of his anger. And this particular deity, Ugrasthana Nrsingadev, is not worshipped anywhere in the world. This is the only unique deity, only worshipped in Mayapur Dham, that he can actually stay in Mayapur Dham, as Prabhu explained, because it is the Dham of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is so merciful, so magnanimous, so munificent. So Lord Nrsingadev takes on the presiding deities, Lord Chaitanya's mood. So that's why you can see him smiling. Smiling, Lord Nrsingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Next slide, please.
This is, as you can see in this slide, this is the deities of Sri Radha Madhava, Ashtasakhis. And what do you see next to it? There are devotees standing in water.
Waist deep in
waist
water.
deep water. And this happens every every few years, but now it's quite rare. But that Ganga Devi, who is right next to Sri Mayapur Dham, ISKCON complex, would flood the entire Sri Mayapur Dham. And even then, look at the determination of devotees. Instead of giving an excuse that there's water everywhere, we can't go to the temple, they come to the temple just to take darshan of the Lord, just to sing and dance in front of the Lord, perform Mangal Arati at 4:30 a.m. of the Lord. Despite all the obstacles, the worship continues, devotees come and they continue taking darshan and glorifying the Lord.
Next slide, please. This is Shri Shri Panchatattva. You see, the water is about to enter into Panchatattva's altar. And this is the most fun time in Mayapur, actually, for those residents. Of course, it's a lot of damage that happens during the flood time. Everything, there's a lot of work. But then the flood water stays maximum, 10 days, 12 days. Sometimes it had stayed a little bit more sometime. But nowadays, doesn't stay too long. But it is nice, fun time that, going out into the Ganga and taking darshan of the deities in this way. Mayapur is blissful. It's a festival every day. Can we have the next slide, please? This is Lord Nrsingadev. You can see the water has already reached Lord Nrsingadev's altar, about to touch his lotus feet. So this is Lord Nrsingadev with the Ganga. Next slide, please. You can see here the water is coming into the Mayapur complex. If you remember, the building that is here is the Lotus building, which we saw in the first slide in the early days. This is the same Lotus building that we see here. Next slide, please. So here are my parents. So now I would like to request them to please unmute themselves, and if they could speak about their experience of staying in the Dham. And you can see their determination that they're just coming out after taking darshan of the deities during the flood time. The water level was so high that they used this little tiny boat and they went to the temple, where they went and took darshan. And then this is, I think, in the year 2014 or 15, I think. But Mababa, please, if you can unmute yourselves, please turn on your video, and if you can please speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we can hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna to everyone. Our humble obeisances to all the devotees watching this program. So, we are very fortunate to be here along with all of you, and to myself and my wife I told to say something about Siddha Mayapur and particularly during the flood. So the flood is really a problem. There is no doubt of it. Kalasudha has already told that there are a lot of damages, lot of struggle, lot of inconvenience are there. But at the same time, the devotees are always joyful. They are attending the Mangalarati at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and all the program goes on. Deities are worshipped, deities are offered, their bhogas in time. There is no, there is nothing, that because of the flood, there is something for the deities not happening for their worship. And this flood, Ganga flood, is having some significance as written by our Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there will be flood in Siddha Mayapur, and it is the indication of inundation of the whole world by Harinam. As the Ganga water is inundating Siddha Mayapur, it indicates that the whole world will be inundated with the name of Lord Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Grace Jananivas Prabhu says that, there are a lot of people coming to Siddha Mayapur for visiting our deities, and they are actually keeping their so many bad karmas, sinful activities in Siddha Mayapur. So Mother Ganga comes inside and taking away all the sinful activities. So Jananivas Prabhu has said this, and Prabhupada has said about the significance of the Dham. And Ganga in Mayapur is having, specific significance, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was playing in the Ganga during his childhood, as Lord Krishna in Vrindavan was playing in Jamuna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here in Siddha Mayapur is playing, playing, swimming, so many naughty things with all the people in Navadvipa. That is why it is called naughty Nimai. In the childhood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to be called as naughty Nimai. And Krishna also was naughty during the pastime in Vrindavan, that also you know. So this Ganga is having some specific, reasons to be accepted for our bath. Ganga is flowing everywhere throughout India, but Navadvipa is having specific, importance. So Ganga also wanted, as in Vrindavan, when Krishna was being carried from Mathura to Vrindavan, Mother Jamuna wanted to touch the lotus feet of Krishna. So here in Mayapur, Ganga also wanted to, have the touch of the lotus feet of Krishna. As you have seen in the picture of Nishingadev, every time Ganga, whenever it is entering the temple, Mother Ganga is touching the lotus feet of Nishingadev. And 2000, there was a big flood. At that time, Mother Ganga touched the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and Astasakhi also. So Ganga always thinking that, my sister Jamuna Devi has touched the lotus feet of Krishna in Vrindavan, so I want to touch the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So why I will be bereft of this, fortune. So Mother Ganga is also fortunate in Navadvipa Dham, and you have seen that how the devotees are moving in the boat So I told something, so I will request my wife to say something.
Hare Krishna. It's so nice to be with all of you. And we are staying in this Dham, Mayapur Dham, last 24 years. So we're really enjoying. And flood, you saw that flood time also is a festival time here. Everything is festival in Mayapur. In flood, lots of losses are there, but still the devotees, they enjoy. And they don't stop their daily routine. Every day they go, we all go and worship Radha Madhava and take their darshan. And so many devotees, they have to leave their house. We stay in the guest house because all our houses will be flooded and guest houses are empty. So we all shift to the guest house and we stay there. And but it is like festival. And now from last 4-5 years there is no flood actually.
Last
But
2015.
Last 15 or 16 it came, then after that it stopped, so now it is okay. But we are missing this flood also, and that flood comes to give her mercy actually, who is not able to go to Ganga to take bath. So Ma Ganga is coming to them so that they can take bath here. And in this way we enjoy. We see so many snakes also, but they don't harm anybody. And devotees also, they don't harm the snakes. They don't unnecessarily kill the snakes also. So they are in their own way. We are also in our own way. So we all are enjoying together actually here in Mayapur by Guru Maharaj's mercy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, that residents of Mayapur during the flood goes to the guest house. It is not because all the houses are flooded. Because of convenience sake, for prasad, for staying together, and there are a lot of inconvenience, staying at a house, to cook and to go around here and there. So that is why a lot of devotees shift to guest house, as well as because of the flood enters into the guest devotees house. Whoever staying in the ground floor, they also shift to the guest house. It is really a very hard time, but although it is a very nice and enjoyed by the devotees during the flood. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mahababa, for that beautiful nectar. We are so grateful to both of you for coming and giving us your time and your association.
Straight live darshan from Sri Mayapur Dham. We are actually staying there where we are.
Please have darshan of Jagannath.
Yes. Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath.
This is the altar at their home.
Jai Jagannath.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Shri Gauri Nitai ki jai.
Shri Nimai, Gopu Nimai ki jai. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Can you share the slides again, please?
Thank you. Okay. So continuing on with our darshan of Sri Mayapur Dham. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, we'll just, yes. So this, now, Mayapur complex, as we saw, that we have, we saw the Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi Mandir, we saw the Bhajan Kutir, we saw Radha Madhava's temple, Nrsingadev, Panchatattva, we saw how Mayapur is during the floods. There is also many, many more aspects inside the Mayapur complex. Mayapur has, the Gurukul, it has the Mayapur Day School, Goshala, There's a wonderful Goshala in Sri Mayapur Dham, and there are devotees who are staying in Mayapur Dham. You saw just one building which was there at that time during, we showed you that photograph, but now there, when we were there in Mayapur, there were 4. That was the Lotus building. Then we moved to Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, 4 guest houses. That was also not enough. So then there's much more, construction that has happened. So many devotees are residents in Mayapur who are staying there with their families. And brahmacharis, there are 2 brahmachari ashrams in Mayapur. This is beautiful complex. And there's also the Gurukul is there. There's Goshala. So all of this is part of the Mayapur complex. So from Mayapur complex, we now come to this next spot, which is the home of Sri Nandana Acharya. This is the place where Sri Nityananda Prabhu first time met with Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So it is said that one time, Lord Nityananda, he appeared in a place called Ekachakra. And Lord Nityananda did not start preaching before Lord Chaitanya started his Sankirtan mission. So then when Lord Chaitanya, when he started, that time Lord Nityananda from Vrindavan, he came straight to Mayapur Dham. And he came and he just quietly stayed in the house of this particular devotee called as Nandana Acharya. And then Lord Chaitanya, he immediately could understand that his eternal brother has come to Navadvipa Dham. So he sent out a search party of devotees. He said, go and look. There's a majestic personality who has entered Navadvipa Dham. Go and see, find him. Devotees came back. They said, Mahaprabhu, we couldn't find. We searched whole day. We couldn't find. Nobody is here. So then Mahaprabhu said, you need to have proper vision to be able to search for Lord Nityananda. So then the next day, Lord Chaitanya himself took out the Sankirtan party, and then he came straight to the house of Sri Nandana Acharya.
And there, when he came to the house of Sri Nandana Acharya, Lord Nityananda was hiding. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came there, he started asking, Nitai, Nitai, where are you? I know you are here. And then Sri Nityananda Prabhu came out, and both of them became stunned, just looking at each other. Eternal brothers, Krishna and Balaram, at the home of Nandanacharya, meeting for the first time in this incarnation of Gaura and Nitai.
Yeah, Nitai.
And they were stunned in ecstatic love, and then they embraced each other, and then they would jump, and they started chanting the holy name. They jumped together 6, 7, 8 feet high, and they would fall on the ground, and then they would cry, and then again embrace each other in ecstasy, and then jump and start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and all the devotees surrounded them and were immersed in the flood of love of God just by hearing and chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just singing so beautifully, just attracting the heart in such a wonderful way. So this historic meeting happened at the home of Sri Nandanacharya, which is right next to the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir.
So here, seeing the ecstasy of Gauranga and Nityananda, all the devotees for the first time, this particular phrase that we use so often every day, when we say, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol, this phrase was coined here for the first time.
At the home of
Nandanacharya, seeing the ecstasy of love between Gauranga and Nityananda, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. So let us all shout, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. So then from here, And here, actually, in this house of Nandanacharya, right there, in front of everyone, all the devotees, Lord Chaitanya actually performed the first Vyasa Puja to Lord Nityananda, recognizing him as the original spiritual master, as the Adi Guru, Sri Nityananda Ram. So from here, we go in Kirtan, we come now to Yogapeeth, to the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there we are walking on the road now, on the main road and we will cross the Ganges on the left side. So please keep the Ganges on your left. Meditate that you're seeing the Ganga, and we are dancing in the road in the Kirtan by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now we have appeared in front. Can we have the next slide, please? We have come in front of the entrance of the home, the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Jai. This place is called as Yogapeeth. It's a very, very beautiful temple. And here you can see in the picture in the slide, you can see Jagannath Mishra, the father of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the lap of his mother, Srimati Sachi Devi. So this is how, this is the main temple. And of course, there's also the deity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here. And we take darshan of this beautiful Mahaprabhu in the lap of Shachi Mata. And and we take blessings. Can we have the next slide, please?
This is the tree, the Neem Tree, under which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared, and that's why his name in childhood was known as Nimai. Nimai means one who appeared under the Neem tree, and that tree is still here that you can see at Yogapeeth.
So let us all do a parikrama around this neem tree. Let's go around 4 times around. Let's walk around this tree. Let's go. And again, let's do kirtan while we are doing it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai 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 Shri Nimai Prabhu ki Jai, Nimai Pandit ki Jai. So today we will end our session here, and we would request all of you not to leave, because we have a very special treat for all of you, that we would be singing Shri Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraja. So we will first sing the Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraja. We request our organizers to please share the link to the song in the chats, please, so that everyone can follow. So we will be singing the Radha Kripa Kataksha now. So please do join us.
This Radha Kripa Kataksha is considered to be the national anthem of Vrindavan, and it is recommended to be sung during this Purushottam month, which is presided by Lord Krishna himself, Purushottam. So this we will sing today, and if you can follow with the link, that will be wonderful. This song was composed by Lord Shiva himself in glorification of Srimati Radharani, and it was compiled by Raghunath Das Goswami of Sri Vrindavan Dham. So the link has been shared. If you click on that, you will be able to follow. Munindra Vrindavandite Trilokashokahardini Rasannavatra Pankache Nikunja Vilasini Vrajendra Bhanu Nandini Vrajendra Sunu Sangate Kada Karishya Sihama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam
Ashoka Vriksha Vallari Vidana Manda Sthite Pravalana Pallava Prabharunangri Komale Varabhaya Spurat Kare Prabhuta Sampada Laye Kada Hama Kripa Kadaksha Bhajanam
Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Angura Bhrupam Savibhrabam Sasambhramam Drigantabapachane Nirantaram Vashikrita Pratintinandane Kada Karishya Sihama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam
Tadit Suvarna Champaka Pradipta Gaura Vigrahe Mukha Prabha Parastakoti Sharadendu Mandale Vichitra Chitra Sanchara Chakora Shavalochane Kada Karishyasi Namam Kripa Kadaksha Bhajanam
Madho Madati Yovane Pramodamandite Priyanuragam काम के को विदे कदा करिष्यसि कृपा कटाक्ष भाजना
अशेष भावधीरा हीराहार भूषिते प्रभूत शात कुंभ कुंभी कुंभ सुस्तनी प्रशस्त मंदहास्य चूर्ण पूर्ण सौख्य सागरे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपा कटाक्ष भाजनम्
मृणालवल्लरी तरङ्गरङ्गदोलते लताग्रलस्य लोलनील लोचनावलोकने ललन्दुलं मिलं मनोज्ञं मूर्धमोहनाश्रिते कदा करिष्यसि कृपा कटाक्ष भाजनम्
सुवर्णमाली काञ्चिता त्रिरेखा कम्बु कण्ठगे त्रिसूत्रमङ्गलीगुणा त्रिरत्नदीप्ति दीप्ति सलोलनीलकुन्तल प्रसूनगुच्छगुम्फिते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपा कटाक्ष भाजनम्
नितं बबिम्बलं बमान पुष्पमेखलागुणे प्रशस्तरत्नकिङ्किणी कलापमध्य मञ्जुले करीन्द्रशृङ्गदण्डिका वरोहसौभगौरते कदा करिष्यसि कृपा कटाक्ष भाजनम्
अनेक मंत्र नाद मंजु नूपुरार वस्खलत् समाज राज हंसवंश मेघवनाति गौरवे विलोलगे वल्लरी वीडं विचारुचक्रमे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपा कटाक्ष भाजनम्
अनन्तकोटिप्रतिमा Pulomaja Virinchiya Vara Prade Apadesi Tire Tire Satpadam Lakhe Kada Karishya Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajana
Makheshwari Krishwari Swadeshwari Sureshwari Triveda Bharatishwari Pramana Shashaneshwari Rameshwari Shameshwari Pramodakaladeshwari Vrajeshwari Vrajadhipe Shri Radhike Namostute Rameshwari Shameshwari Pramodakaladeshwari Vrajeshwari Vrajadhipe Shri Radhike Namostute.
Shri Radha Kripa Katakshi ki
Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radhika Stavaraj ki
Jai.
Jai. Thank you all so much for participating with us. Very grateful to all of you. So if there's any questions, comments, reflections, we can take that now. We can open up all the lines, please.
Garima.
Yes, Garima.
Me.
Okay, you want to speak first? Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev. Please
Hare
accept my humble
Krishna.
obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for such a wonderful nectarian Brajamandal Parikrama. I don't think my little one has ever sat down throughout the whole thing. But he actually ran to the temple room and he brought this book. And he said, this is Mayapur, this is Mayapur. Yes, he went himself in. He ran and he brought the book, and then he made me open Prabhupada Leelamrita while you were giving lecture, the new book. And he said, this has Mayapur temple, and this has Prabhupada, so we have the whole thing.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Mataji, I wanted to tell you what I wrote. Mataji, my phone. My phone birthday. My TV. Do you how with the night he died with me and Mama and Daddy will say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Daddy.
Me
Wait. He is actually sharing with you that I cut my birthday cake with Guru Maharaj. He was holding my knife and my hand, and we cut birthday cake with him.
I show you that.
Go bring it.
Okay, you show me that. Okay.
Guru Maharaj
So
gave him a Radha Krishna necklace. So he ran upstairs to bring his necklace. to show you.
I want to tell the notes that I wrote.
Okay.
Mayapur. Srila Prabhupada Bhajan Kutir is in there. And
Yeah.
you know that the small Gaunitaya are also in Prabhupada Kutir.
Yes.
And Srila Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi in Mayapur.
Yes.
And you said that
That all devotees were determined to go in the temple, right? Okay, yeah, determination of devotees.
determination of devotees when Mayapur was flooded, and
Mm-hmm.
the meeting of Gora and Nitai in Navadvipa.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you, Garima, for recapping everything for us. Thank you.
So here we have one question where they said, what is the song name? The name of the song is Shri Radha Kripa Kataksha, which means the merciful sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani.
Shri Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraja. Okay, any more questions?
Hare Krishna,
Comments?
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada, thank you so much for taking us to Navadvipa Dham. So heart-touching, Mataji and Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I have a question. Like,
Yes.
we hear and we know and we understand that Mayapur Dham is the most magnanimous Odarya Dham, right? And we hear that Vrindavan is not different than Mayapur, but Vrindavan, we hear that it's Madhurya Dham. So how to reconcile both?
Vrindavan is Madhurya Dham and Navadvip is Audarya Dham.
So, and they both are not different.
Oh yeah, they are non-different. Just like we were reading today, that Krishna in Vrindavan Dham, it's Madhurya, but still Krishna, Navadvip Dham is Audarya, means very more compassionate than the Vrindavan Dham. Because Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he asks, you surrender to me? The final verse of instruction of Krishna is, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva paprebhyo moksheshyami masacha. You surrender to me, I will relieve you of all the fear. All the sinful reactions, do not fear. But he puts a condition. He says, you first have to surrender to me. If you don't surrender, then I can't say anything. You surrender, I will relieve you of the reactions. But Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, he came again 4,500 years later and said, look, I'll give you a deal. You just chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra and I'll give you love of God. So there is no condition. I'm giving you this. Only condition is just accept it. That's all. So we can see how Krishna in Vrindavan Dham and Krishna in Navadvip Dham, they are the same persons, but their mood is completely different. It is said when Krishna would kill a demon, the demon would actually merge, the soul would merge into the body of Krishna. We saw in so many Krishna's pastimes. But Mahaprabhu, when someone offends him, like Chand Kazi, we will see tomorrow, we'll go to Chand Kazi's Samadhi. When Chand Kazi, he was a Muslim ruler, he offended him. Lord Chaitanya gave him love of God, gave him Krishna prema. So you can see one just merging into the existence, and the other was Lord Gauranga. He's giving love of God to even one who offends him. So we can see the merciful nature is the same person. Krishna is the same person, but different mood. Vrindavan and Navadvip are the same dham, but the moods are different. Lord Nrsimhadev, he's so ferocious, but he comes to Navadvip Dham, he assumes the mood of the compassionate mood of the dham. So they are non-different in their quality, but actually in their mood there is a difference where one is madhurya plus audarya. I hope that
Yeah.
answers your question.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that understanding is there, that Krishna, that Sarva Dharman Parityaja, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most magnanimous. But I was just like this, like we call Vrindavan and Mayapur, Navadvipa Dham, they are non-different, but the moods are different. So basically, it's okay. Like even though the moods are different, but still we can say that the two dhams are non-different, because the person Krishna in Vrindavan and the person Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mayapur Dham, they are both same, right? That's what.
Yes, you got it.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Thank
And
Mataji.
also Radharani is there in Vrindavan. Radharani is there in Navadvip also. She manifested Navadvip Dham. So all the people are the same, but now they have assumed a much more
Yes.
compassionate mood.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we have 1 minute, Kirti. Give me 1 second. Manju Mataji, you have said thank you so much that you are sharing this parikrama with your relatives. If you could personally message us over WhatsApp and give us the list of your family and relatives, then we can add them to the WhatsApp group, no problem. Or we can have the link over
I'll
here.
come inside.
You can give the link to your relatives and they can join. So
Ma'am, how can
either of these things are okay.
how can I give you their link? How can I share with you their contact numbers?
Are you on the WhatsApp group in any of the
Yes,
4 WhatsApp groups?
Yes, I am in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, so just send a message to any of the admins.
Okay. It is there in the WhatsApp group, no? Admin's number.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
If you just see the members, you will see on the top, you'll see admins. So just send you can see me or Prabhu, either of us. You can send, and here's the link. If you can copy this link, just now it came.
Okay.
So in the chat, you can see the link. Can you see the link in the chat?
Okay.
So this link, if you give to your relatives, they can join.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Kirti.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji. So in today's class, I learned a lot about Mayapur. I have visited Mayapur before, but I never knew all like the meanings and everything of each place. And I have one question, Mataji.
Yes.
My question is that in a house, when if you're buying deities, is it okay to buy a very angry Nrsimhadev? Is it okay to have a very ugra Nrsimhadev in the house, like how Mayapur has a very ugra Nrsimhadev?
You know, for grihastas, it is recommended to worship Lakshmi Nrsimhadev. They are more safer.
For Ugrastanu Nrsimhadev, for worshipping him, one has to be a brahmachari, like a Naishtika brahmachari. So the Mayapur Nrsimhadev, Ugrastanu Nrsimhadev, is worshipped by very advanced souls and brahmacharis. So yeah, at home, Lakshmi Nrsimhadev is more recommended.
Prabhu,
And also, if you want, Kirti, 1 minute, you know these resin murtis that are there? There's one resin murti of Lord Ugrastanu Nrsimhadev. Just still, not his lotus feet, just still his skirt. Have you seen those murtis? I can share a picture with you. So that murti you can have, no problem. But don't keep him on your altar.
Yeah, Mataji, is it okay to have a picture of a very ugra Nrsimhadev?
Yes, no problem. Picture is okay.
Okay, thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji and
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam first, and thank you for singing Radha Kripa Katash. It's so close to my heart, and it was so beautiful hearing from your voices. Thank you. And association with your parents was and Mayapur. Everything was so divine, so nectarian. I just wanted to ask why we do 4 parikramas. Is there any specific reason for doing 4 instead of 3 or something?
You know, I remember one of our spiritual masters, he said, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he says that generally we do 3 parikramas, right?
Yes.
And the 4th one, if you do, it's like doing for the entire world. That's what it's considered to be. That you're doing 1 extra parikrama and you're dedicating it for everyone else. You see, because as devotees, especially as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Lord Chaitanya is so magnanimous, you know, his mood is so audarya, so merciful. So, you know, therefore, as his followers, as his representatives, we are expected a few things to do. You know, so therefore we do this paropakar by doing 4 times parikrama, like 3 we are doing for ourselves, 1 we are dedicating for the rest of the world, like that.
And in our temple, like, you know, in my house, my mandir, it's not possible for me to do parikrama, so I can do mentally.
Yes.
Yeah, because I cannot go around. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
the thing. So we can do mentally. Okay.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anjali. Any other questions?
Daddy ma.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Oh, me? Yes, Krishna.
Open it.
Oh, wow. That's the necklace that Guru Maharaj gave you? Wow.
Not two, only 1.
Okay.
Wonderful. Oh, wow. So nice.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, any more questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. I have one question. In Purushottam month, what are the things we should avoid? What are the things we should not do in this month, particular this month?
We should avoid offending anyone or criticizing anyone.
Okay.
We should, these are the main things basically that we should try to avoid. But there are many things that you can do. If you focus on what things we can do, then automatically our whole day will be filled with things that we are doing, such that automatically we won't be doing things that we don't have to do. So for example, if we should not criticize anyone. So if we focus on, oh, I will not criticize this person, I will not criticize that person, I will not criticize, I don't have to criticize. So then in our mind, what's going on is criticize, and we'll end up criticizing. But instead, if we think, I don't have to criticize, okay, so what should I do? I should glorify. Focus on what you have to do rather than what you have to not do. Then if you focus on what you have to do, say, I should glorify everyone, I should always say good things about others, then automatically you will not criticize. So in order to not criticize, just make sure you're always glorifying everyone, you're always telling good things to everyone, you're always focusing on their good qualities. Even if someone has some bad qualities, you are still trying to find what is the good quality in them and associating with that good quality. Automatically, you will not criticize anyone else. That is the biggest thing one can do avoid in this month. But what you should do, there are so many lists of what do's are there. Let's focus on that.
Okay. Any restriction for prasadam, like anything to avoid, like in this month?
Main thing is mustard oil and mustard seeds. That's the minimum that is recommended. And then, you know, anything that you feel that you can do, like, you know, give up one of your favorite things for this entire month. You say, okay, I like this particular fruit or this particular sweet. I will not have that for this month. Some kind of austerity.
Okay.
So different things like that. Many devotees also do eating just one time a day. Many things like that, which is mentioned all in Hari Bhakti Vilas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji
Krishna.
Prabhuji. For your assistance, we can do able Mangalarti in temple time, like 4:30. We're able to do. Thank you for your
Wonderful.
association.
Hari
Whole
Bol.
family
Thank
engaged. My small kids also enjoy in Mangalarti. They are singing Sansar Dhab also. They learn.
Hari Bol. May I know your name? I cannot see you.
My name is Subhangi Satya Devi Dasi from Hyderabad, and my Prabhuji name is Sarva Puja Madhav Das.
Jai, Jai. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, Mataji. Thank you. Giving your association, your blessings. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Actually, Anjuji, you are, you know, reading our hearts. You're reading our minds. Tomorrow we will be actually singing. We have plans that we are going to sing the Jagannath Ashtakam tomorrow. So everyone, please stay tuned to listen to the Jagannath Ashtakam tomorrow, because tomorrow we will be visiting Jagannath Puri in Mayapur Dham. So tomorrow we will do the Navadvipa Mandal Parikrama, but just like how every dham is present in Navadvip, so tomorrow in the Navadvip Dham we will visit Jagannath Puri. So therefore we will be singing Jagannath Ashtakam tomorrow. So kindly join us in tomorrow's session. Same time, 6 a.m. India time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time in the US. So if there's no more questions, comments, we can end here with all of your permission.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.